Hey guys, how's it going? This is Bill Wick here, and tonight I wanted to make a quick video talking about frequency, our minds, and the law of attraction. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to basically explain my concept and also physics, the modern day of physics, quantum physics, the concept of frequency and how that ties into what we pull into our lives. Because essentially our minds are like gigantic magnets, and what we focus on is what we draw into our lives. And this can be a beautiful thing, or this can be a nightmare if we're not consciously aware of what we're pulling into our lives. But the beautiful thing is let me give you an example here. So say that, Joe Smith, hypothetical, is having financial difficulty, and he's losing his home, he's losing his car, he's losing everything that was ever important to him materially, and he's in a very difficult spot, right? And so it is so difficult, almost impossible for Joe not to focus on the problem, not to focus on the things that he has lost. And to break through this misalignment of energy, to break through the pain and the constant obsession that draws Joe towards the circumstances instead of the solutions to solve the problem, it's very difficult. But the way that, in terms of the law of attraction, Joe could begin to shift out of this is in the mind. Because as we all know, this chair was created from a thought, from an idea, and then it was put into action. We have to start with our mind first and our way of being first, and then allow our actions to be congruent with our mind and with the intention we set with unwavering faith, and allow that to come into fruition. So, an example would be, if everything starts with a thought, then we have to retrain our thinking. So Joe would have to retrain his thinking about money, his ideas about money. He would have to retrain the people around him who, unknowingly, most likely continue to bring Joe down by validating this reality that he's poor, he's losing everything, he is really unworthy of the things that he has, and he wouldn't be losing them. It's like the people around us conform to the doctrine that we have manifested physically in the universe. What I mean by that is if Joe began to look at the possibilities and the solution, and he began to feel good about where he was headed, meaning getting a new job, gaining momentum on that career, creating possibilities, focusing on what he wanted, taking action with unwavering faith on what he wanted, a lot of people in his life would look at him and they wouldn't understand it. So, out of ignorance and also love in a strange way, family and friends and everyone around Joe would continue to let Joe know, look man, you're losing your house, you're losing your car, you're losing everything. How could you possibly be happy about creating this wealth that you don't have? And that's why it's so important, kind of like that movie, The Pursuit of Happiness, with Will Smith. How Will Smith says, we gotta protect your dreams. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't do anything. Because the fact is that if we open up to the power and the possibilities inside of us, then essentially we don't have to conform to anyone else's norm or idea of what can and can't happen in reality. We are free from those shackles until we allow those shackles to be imposed on us. So, to get pushed forward here and to get to the point about Joe Smith and his situation, Joe has the option of creating an idea, right? Joe has the option of creating a plan for himself that is realistic, creating an action plan, and Joe has the option to begin to change his frequency while he is poor, while he is losing these things. Because the fact is that if he stays in that reality and he focuses on what he doesn't have and the nightmare that he's created, as we all know, continuous nightmares until Joe decides to stop, to readjust his mind, to move towards that job that he wants, to move towards the qualifications and the resume and moving into that job that he wants and that he deserves. And you begin to feel positive feelings of moving towards what he wants. Because you see, a lot of people would see this as a lie. If Joe is in a tough mind and a tough situation and scarcity, a lot of people would see it dishonest that he's creating this new future, that he's moving towards a solution, and that he is generating positive feelings from something that doesn't exist. Just like this chair didn't exist before it came to fruition and the designer designed it. Everything starts in here. Everything in our universe. And so, Joe has two roads. He can continue to have his life and his emotions driven by fear. And as a result, that magnetism of that fear will continue to pull situations into Joe's life that allow him to have that fear. Or he can move into the unknown territory. He can move into the frequency of moving towards what he wants. In his mind, he can lay out a map, he can focus on the future, he can focus on the good feeling as his material possessions come back into his life, his abundance comes back into his life, knowing in his heart that he has the ability and the skill set to get what he wants in his life. These are two very different roads. It's obviously extremely difficult for Joe to move into this positive vibration without having any tangible evidence that it even exists. So the reason I am going into this and making this so complicated is because it is extremely complicated for us as human beings to fathom the idea that changing our lives, changing what we pull into the physical world is a result of our thinking. This is a concept that, some call it The Secret, as in the book and the movie that Oprah made. There are many different names for it, but the basic premise is not a theory, it's a fact. If you take a look at your life, you can see that the majority of your circumstances were of your creation in one form or another. Meaning that you played a part in pulling in the different catastrophes and the different blessings that have arrived in your theater of reality. So, if Joe begins to generate this positive momentum and focuses on the garden that he wants, and the home that he wants, and the car that he wants, this would seem so taboo and almost borderline psychotic to people who are indoctrinated to the social norm. However, if Joe begins to generate these positive feelings, the universe will deliver to him the circumstances and the situations to create that career, create the prosperity and the abundance, simply by resonating with that frequency, with his emotions, with his dreams and his aspirations, followed by physical action, tangible action, working towards his goal, continuing to stay focused on the destination, which is the house and the beautiful garden and wonderful education for his children, and whatever else that he wants, that he can reach into his mind, into his imagination, which is where this planet arrived, it's where the government was created, it's where, if you believe in a creator, it's where everything was created, in the mind, you see? And so, Joe will take one of the two roads, but the unknown road, and the road that seems very difficult to fathom, and the road that will be scrutinized and torn down by the majority of people who do not understand this concept, is the road of the blessings. It is the road of moving towards what Joe wants. It is the road of working as hard as Joe possibly can to reach towards the positive ideal of getting the house back, getting the garden, getting the car, taking a stand for himself, not living in the past, which has no value whatsoever. Reality, most people would say reality, Joe, is that you're losing everything. However, that's not reality. Reality is that is what's happening to Joe in the moment. But Joe can also move towards what he wants. So when people ask him, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. I've got a plan in the works to get a new corporate job. I've got a resume together. I'm talking to people. I'm generating momentum. I'm moving towards what I want. So when Joe says this, I'm moving towards the car, I'm moving to the house, this isn't just fake it till you make it. This isn't a lie, because Joe has the power to pull in positive feelings, and these positive feelings are going to be felt, and they're going to attract positive people. Like attracts like. They're going to attract people who resonate with that frequency. The more creative he is, the more excited he is about his future, not denying the pain, continuing to clean up his mess, but the more excitement that he has, the more people at a subconscious level are going to be drawn to his frequency that have the same frequency. He will find people of abundance coming into his life. He will find circumstances that are going to match that desire with unwavering faith to remove the shackles of scarcity that he's in now, to take proactive action to get to where he wants, to set that intention, and as I've said, and as is proven by science in a way vibrationally, feelings come from thoughts, and when we have a positive momentum or a feeling that's generated in our gut that is laser focused and is very positive, that is going to bring more things to us. You see, Esther Hicks, who's a very famous teacher on the law of attraction, a lot of you may know her, Esther and Jerry Hicks. She talks about how if you can focus on a thought, right? Focus on an unwavering thought for 17 seconds, then by the law of attraction and just by the law of psychology, and just try it for yourself, in another 17 seconds, if you can do that purely, focus on one thought, one beautiful positive thought, then another will come. And as that happens, then another will come. And if you do this for 63 seconds, roughly, what will happen is this will shift your emotions and your feelings from a simple thought into a new way of being. It will generate momentum like a snowball effect. So as you do that, that positive momentum continues to grow larger until the next thing you know, you have all kinds of positive thoughts and beliefs which sculpt our world flowing to us. And so as we take action, manifesting this blessing, whatever it may be, becomes more tangible and more possible. It's cutting away the naysayers, most of which are in our own minds, by the way, not people around us. It's cutting off those people by protecting our dreams within ourselves, keeping our happiness to ourselves if we've lost our house and our car, and shifting into that vibration. So, that's my take on this situation. Nothing is foolproof. Like I say, take what you can use and leave the rest. You know, that's all we can do. This is my truth. You don't agree with it, that's okay. You know, the fact is that my truth changes every day, as I'm sure yours does too. But one thing that I know for certain is that generating momentum on your thoughts and your beliefs and your circumstances, and focusing on the road that you choose to go to, not the road that you think is predetermined because of your past failures, but the road of possibilities, the road of dreams and aspirations, the road where there are no other naysayers or negative thinking in your own mind that are shackling you down to following the path of the past. And instead, this road to the future that you began creating, generating emotions and positive momentum will come to fruition in the way that the universe sees it fit. We will not do this perfectly, but this is very real. This is the basic premise of the law of attraction and how to transcend circumstances that really, really suck. So, that's all I got, guys. I hope this made sense. Love you.